Gonna get. Anything?
My point exactly. You need more than a reel of celluloid to tell you about the real world. If you want to master the world you live in, you have to study how people lived in the past. History teaches us about people, how they dealt with their problems, how they coped, how they kept their hope when they faced despair. What we learn from the past helps us live in our world today.
Miss Hickok,
Yes?
do you think people really learn from the past?
Of course. What do you think?
It seems to me that history repeats itself quite a bit. I mean, people still struggle with the same old problems and try to solve them in the same old ways. Doesn't that mean we don't learn from the past?
Well, we can learn by observing the mistakes others make. When we see how they fared and how they erred, we can change our plans and goals so we don't do the same. Take the sinking of the Titanic, for example.
As we turn our attention to the Titanic, let's see what we can learn from Jack and Rose.
Jack, there's not enough lifeboats for all the passengers.
Don't worry, Rose. The Titanic's unsinkable.
Leave for iceberg ahead!
Oops.
And what did people learn from this?
To count the lifeboats before you board the ship.
Miss Hickok,
Yes.
are you saying the only things we learn come from others' mistakes?
Of course not. We can learn by studying the successes of others, too. History teaches us what happens when people work hard to achieve their goals, strive to make life easier, or do things that end up for our good. Take Alexander Graham Bell's invention of the telephone, for example.
And now, here's a real-life story from the laboratory of Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Watson.
Here, Watson, take this in the other room. Daggone, I got battery acid all over. Watson, come here, I need you. I heard you guys right here. We did it!
My point exactly. That comes right from our history books, not the movies.
Miss Hickok,
Yes?
there's just one thing that troubles me.
What's that?
If we're supposed to learn from the good things that people have done in the past, then why is the Bible not a part of our studies?
What exactly do you mean?
Well, the Bible tells about how people in the past changed because of their commitment to God. It's also the history of God's involvement in the world, what He did, and how that helps us today. That's all a part of history too. A part we don't seem to talk about.
Well, don't forget about the test. You'll need to be prepared for it.
Lisa, you're Lisa, right?
Yes.
I'm Katie Smith.
Glad to meet you, Katie. You haven't been in class before, have you?
No, I'm new here.
Glad to meet you.
It was cool what you brought up in class today about the Bible.
Thanks.
What did you mean about God being part of history?
Just that. What God did is not a figment of our imagination. It's also not something someone made up. It really happened.
Isn't God just an issue of religion? Isn't it up to each of us what to believe and what not to believe about Him?
Well, I base my beliefs off the historical evidence of what God did, like sending His Son Jesus into the world. Jesus' life, death, and resurrection. It's not true because I believe it. I believe it because it's true.
So it's a matter of history.
Voila. Where are you headed, Katie?
Biology.
So am I. But I have to pick something up before class. I'll meet you there.
Hey, how did history go?
Class wasn't so bad. Things just started getting interesting when the bell rang.
Oh?
We were talking about studying the importance of history when Lisa brought up God's part in it.
Lisa. Figures.
What do you mean?
Lisa and Brooks are like two peas in a pod. You won't learn anything from them. Like I said before, if you want real answers, you come see me.
Sure.
Wait, don't freak. What'd you call me?
Called you a freak. You want to make something of it?
Jerks.
All right, kids. All right. Now, students, as you can see, our experiment has been successful. With the right elements, a proper environment, and of course, a little help from us, we have simulated the creation of life. What you are looking at is a group of microorganisms. The ancestors of this life form lived a long time ago. An organism like this was the basis for life as we see it today.
Did it live in a petri dish?
No, Crystal, I don't think they had petri dishes back then. But with all the volcanic activity and electrical storms, there might have been some natural glass sitting around. At some point in the past, life originated from a primordial pool, much like the stuff in this dish. Lisa, stop. Life began in an environment similar to this. First forms were simple: bacteria, amoebas, and other single-celled animals. These later evolved into higher forms: fish, reptiles, birds, mammals, and of course us. Lisa! It took millions and millions of years for life to evolve as we see it today. And what's really amazing is that it happened all by chance. A cosmic accident, so to speak. Sort of like rolling dice. The numbers came out right, and voila, here we are. Lisa, what are you doing?
I'm trying to make a log cabin.
That doesn't make any sense.
Here, let me help.
This is gonna be beautiful.
There, that's how you make a log cabin.
Was there a point to this, Lisa?
Well, I was thinking, what if I just shook this box for a few hours, a few days, maybe even a year or two? Don't you think it could happen accidentally?
It would never happen, not in a million years. All you get is sawdust.
You're right. But what's easier? To create a log cabin or to create life?
Duh, the log cabin.
And what did it take to build this log cabin? A builder. When we see a building like this, we know it was built by someone. It didn't just get here by chance. So, why do we take something as complex as life, something infinitely more difficult to create, somehow happened by accident?
It's in the textbook. Now let's get back to our lesson. We'll continue this tomorrow.
Always grabbing a
Here, let me help.
Thanks.
It was cool what you brought up in class today.
Thanks.
Sounds like you don't agree with Miss Fisk that we got here by chance.
You're right. I believe we were created by God. God made us unique and distinct, different from all the other animals. He also made us in His image. That makes us pretty special. God knows how much we need His help to deal with the difficulties of life. He sent His Son Jesus to guide us, to show us the way.
Doesn't sound like anything you hear about in history class.
Or in biology. So where are you headed, Katie?
Philosophy.
So am I.
What's it like?
Sometimes we have some pretty heated discussions.
Let's go, we'll be late.
class.